Live from New Delhi, you're watching the India News Hour, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika, coming up in the next 1 hour. Swiss president says New Year's Eve fire at ski resort among country's worst tragedies. At least 40 killed, over 100 injured, flags to fly at half-mast for 5 days. Hindu businessmen brutally attacked, set on fire in Bangladesh, raising minority violence concerns. Clashes between protesters and security forces in Iran leave 6 dead amid cost of living protests. Russia hands over evidence to United States, claiming Ukrainian drone targeted Putin's residence, escalating tensions in peace talks. Good morning to all the viewers joining us at this morning broadcast. To begin with the latest, around 40 people were killed and over 100 injured when a fire ripped through a crowded bar during a New Year's Eve party in the upscale Swiss ski resort of Crans-Montana. Swiss President Guy Parmelin described the deadly fire as one of the worst tragedies the country has known. Speaking after the incident, the Swiss president said authorities are investigating the exact circumstances of what exactly happened. He added that flags will be flown at half-mast for 5 days, stressing that a tragedy of such a scale must not happen again.
Dozens of people are feared dead and more than 100 injured after a devastating fire tore through a crowded bar during a New Year's Eve party in the Swiss ski resort of Crans-Montana. The blaze broke out post-midnight at a bar called Le Constellation, a popular spot among locals and young visitors. Authorities say the cause remains unclear. Investigators are examining safety failures and have launched a full-scale inquiry. According to a witness, the fire may have started in the bar's basement when birthday candles on a bottle came too close to the wooden ceiling. Swiss authorities deployed 10 helicopters and 40 ambulances to assist the victims, transporting the seriously injured to hospitals. Eyewitnesses described scenes of panic as flames spread quickly through the bar.
We were yelling fire, fire, and then we thought it was a joke and that it was not necessarily serious. And then suddenly a huge cloud of black smoke. We could not breathe anymore. And then maybe we had to get out and everyone got out. But a crowd gathered, so we could not get out, so we tried to hide.
Switzerland is already calling it as one of its worst tragedies.
The fire that occurred last night in a bar in Crans-Montana is one of the worst tragedies our country has ever known. Many lives, mostly young people, have been lost. Around 100 people were injured, many seriously. And behind these numbers are faces, names, families, destinies brutally cut short or forever shattered.
Hundreds lined up to pay respects outside the bar. Forensic teams working behind cordons are trying to identify the dead using dental and DNA records. Authorities warn the process will take days due to the severity of the burns. Victims include citizens from several countries. Italy, France have confirmed that their nationals are missing after the mishap. What was meant to be a night of celebration turned into one of Switzerland's deadliest modern tragedies. Crans-Montana, a resort known for skiing, golfing and luxury tourism, now mourns dozens of victims, many of them young. Bureau Report, TD India.
A massive fire engulfed a historic church in Amsterdam in the early hours of New Year's Day on Thursday. The blaze tore through the 19th century Wunderkerk, destroying large sections of the neo-Gothic building and causing its iconic spire to collapse. The fire broke out shortly after midnight near the city's central Wunderpark, reducing much of the landmark built in 1872 to ruins. Authorities said the cause of the fire remains under investigation. In Iran, clashes between protesters and security forces across several cities left 6 people dead as protests over worsening economic conditions spread nationwide. Iran's Fars news agency reported that some protesters in Logica threw stones at the government buildings, a mosque and banks, prompting police to respond with tear gas. It added buildings suffered serious damage and that police detained several individuals. In Asna, the agency reported that rioters exploited a demonstration to assault a police station. Separately, news agency Tasneem said authorities in Tehran arrested 30 people accused of public order offences. The deputy governor of Lorestan province said Purali stated that 13 police officers and members were injured by stone pelting during demonstrations in Kodashast. The protests began in Tehran on Sunday, where shopkeepers went on strike over high prices and economic stagnation and have since spread to other parts of the country as well. Supporters of Yemen's main southern separatist group, the Southern Transitional Council, rallied in the southern port city of Aden to demand succession from the north. Protesters in southern Yemen's port city of Aden called for independence from northern authorities. The Southern Transitional Council, which controls much of the south, has been ordered to withdraw from Hadramaut and Mehra provinces. Saudi Arabia also urged the UAE-backed group to pull back its forces after seizing key areas and government offices. Meanwhile, Aden Airport was closed, disrupting flights despite limited arrivals earlier in the day. The move highlights growing tensions in a country already divided by years of civil war. Nigeria launched a new tax regime. Officials said it will expand the tax base, ease the tax burden on low-income earners and small businesses, and streamline collection and administration. The new system, based on 4 bills signed into a law in the month of June, came into effect despite calls for a delay by the opposition, which alleged that the government had made unauthorized changes to the tax code. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu backed the tax reforms, dismissed the opposition claims and said the new tax regime is in Nigeria's best interest. Also, this is a significant step towards building a simpler, fairer and more growth-oriented tax system in Nigeria. Former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro was discharged from the hospital on Thursday after undergoing a medical procedure to treat hernia and hiccups. The former president has been sent back to the Federal Police Superintendency in Brasilia, where he is serving a 27-year sentence for plotting a coup after losing the 2022 presidential election. Bolsonaro was admitted to the hospital last week for surgical procedures following a request from his lawyers. Earlier, Brazil's Supreme Court Justice rejected a request from his lawyers seeking permission for the former president to serve his sentence under what they called as humanitarian house arrest. Updates on Russia-Ukraine conflict now. A senior Russian military official on Thursday presented a US military attaché with what he said was a component of a Ukrainian drone, claiming the data proved Kyiv had targeted a Russian presidential residence. Moscow has alleged that Ukraine attempted to strike President Putin's residence in the Novgorod region using dozens of long-range drones and warned it could reconsider its position in talks with the United States on ending the conflict. Ukraine and several Western countries have rejected the claim. While US President Donald Trump initially appeared sympathetic to Russia's allegation, he later expressed doubts. Ukraine dismissed the accusation as disinformation aimed at straining ties with the United States.
I've invited you here for an important matter. We'd like to inform you that we found the wreckage of the drones that carried out this attack. The navigation systems of some of these drones are well preserved and technically functional. A decryption of the memory contents of the navigation controllers of these drones, performed by specialists from Russian intelligence agencies, has irrefutably confirmed that the target of the attack was the complex of buildings housing the Russian president's residence in the Novgorod region.
And to get you latest on this, I'm joined by DD India correspondent Akhilesh Suman. Good morning. What can you tell us more about the evidences submitted by Russia?
It is really concerning for everyone, Deepika, because this is a new twist in the whole negotiation process that is going on between US and Ukraine, and also European Union wants to be part of it, and they will converse with Russia at the last so that the final deal can be clinched. But the whole incident of Russia's allegation that Ukraine has tried to bomb Russian President Vladimir Putin's Novgorod official residence has jeopardized the whole situation. Now, when Zelensky, in yesterday's speech also, he has refuted the charge of Russians that it is from Ukrainian side or it is the handiwork of Ukrainian army. But when Russians have been giving some proof to the USA that the target has been the Russian president official residence, in that situation, I think that everyone will want to know that what has happened. Actually, who has done it? If Ukrainian president is telling that it is not handiwork of Ukrainian army, then it is really pertinent question that if someone else who is trying to jeopardize the negotiation and agreement process between Russia and the US, European Union and Ukraine. So everyone should find out, and I think all eyes are on USA, that whether USA will find out that who has orchestrated this bombing of President Putin's official residence. So I think the ball is in the court of Ukraine. It has to prove that there is no Ukrainian hand, and if there is no Ukrainian hand, where have these drones come from? Are there any rogue elements in Ukrainian army? Are there any gangs who are working inside Ukraine that they are doing this, or who are they? So I think this question is being asked from every quarter I have talked to in the morning, Deepika.
Now, can this also result to a possible halt in the peace talk efforts?
I don't think it will create a halt, because when Donald Trump is telling that 95% of security guarantee has been agreed between Ukraine and USA. Zelensky is telling that 90% of the 20-point program has been agreed between USA and Ukraine. So now it is not jeopardizing, because Zelensky will be talking in Paris in this month with the European allies. So they will also decide that whether what should be done for the security guarantee that Zelensky is asking for Ukraine, and other territorial issues, issues of Donbass region. So what will be done with that? So these talks have to go, and these talks will go. Now Russia has taken a hard stand that Ukraine has to be cowed down in that way. That means there is a pressure on Ukraine to agree to what he was trying not to agree. So I think agreement and the process of negotiation will go on. But naturally, there is much more pressure on Ukraine, on Zelensky now than it was earlier.
That's right. Thank you so much for joining us and getting us the latest on this development. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. Maduro signals openness to US talks amid Trump's claims of strike on Venezuela drug facilities. Power outages and flood warnings as powerful storm batters Southern California. And swimmers across Europe ring in 2026 with New Year's Day dips.
geopolitics and trade deals, economic challenges amid development, hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India Newshour. Now let's get you the latest from Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, a Hindu businessman was brutally attacked, stabbed and set on fire in Shariatpur district, raising fresh concerns over violence against minority communities. The incident took place on Wednesday night when 50-year-old Hukun Chandra Das was returning home in an auto rickshaw and when he was stopped by a group of assailants. The attackers assaulted him with sharp weapons, robbed him of cash, poured a flammable liquid on him and set him on fire. Injured, the victim jumped into a nearby pond to save himself. Local residents rescued him and took him to the hospital before he was referred to the hospital in Dhaka due to critical injuries. The incident follows reports of other recent violent attacks involving members of minority community, raising concerns among right groups and local observers. Now, raising concerns over what he described as a worsening situation for religious minorities in Bangladesh, Indian-American Congressman Suhas Subramaniam said that Hindus and other minority communities are facing targeted violence and that the government in Dhaka has not done enough to protect them. In an interview to a news agency, Subramaniam said multiple incidents of Hindus, specifically being attacked, reported in recently in Bangladesh. The Virginia Democrat said the attacks go beyond isolated incidents and reflect a broader pattern since the current government came to power. He added that government is not doing enough to protect minorities in Bangladesh. Expressing concerns over the recent situation, Subramaniam said Washington would need to assess how Dhaka intends to respond. Subramaniam also said the violence has included attacks on religious sites, businesses and individuals. Moving on. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro on Thursday said he was open to cooperation with Washington after weeks of American military pressure. In an interview on state television, Maduro said he's open for dialogues wherever and whenever US wants. Well, till date, Maduro has not confirmed a US land attack on a docking facility in his country that allegedly targeted drug boats, according to US President Donald Trump's comments on Monday. The attack would amount to the first known land strike on the US military campaign against drug trafficking from Latin America. Trump on Monday said United States hit and destroyed a docking area for alleged Venezuela drug boats. Now, Trump would not say if it was a military or a CIA operation or where the strike occurred, noting only that it was along the shore. The Venezuelan government has released 88 detainees who were held after protests following the July 2024 Venezuelan election. This comes after the release of 99 individuals on the 26th of December, bringing the total number of freed prisoners to 187, marking the second mass release in 2 weeks. The government described these actions as part of a comprehensive review process of cases ordered by President Nicolas Maduro. The Venezuelan government stated that it does not hold political prisoners, but rather imprisoned politicians, claiming that those arrested were seeking to destabilize the country. Several NGOs estimate that around 900 people still remain detained, including those arrested before the election. At least 3 people were killed and 7 others were missing after a New Year's Eve attack on informal miners in northern Peru on Thursday. The assault is the latest in a string of violent incidents targeting small-scale gold miners in the Andean nation. Authorities noted that in May last year, 13 miners were killed in the same district as criminal gangs intensified their efforts to expand their control over the lucrative mining region. A storm swept through Southern California on Thursday, prompting flood warnings for millions of residents. The storm also left over 3,000 Los Angeles customers without power. The Los Angeles Department of Water and Power reported localized outages in Sherman Oaks, Vermont, Sloan, Highland Park and Los Feliz, but said its overall system remained stable. Authorities warned of debris flows and flash flooding as rain continued across Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino and Ventura counties. Turkey welcomed the new year from under a blanket of snow in Istanbul. On the first day of the new year, the Turkish city also received its first snowfall of the year. After falling hard in the early morning, the snowfall eased off later in the day, and some people came out to enjoy the winter landscape. The cold snow have swept across much of the country. Schools in several cities will remain closed on Friday due to heavy snowfall. Australia has provided duty-free access to all Indian exports starting today under the Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement between the two countries. DD India's Satyamya Mishra brings us this report. Take a look.
Australia has provided duty-free access to all Indian exports starting 1st January under the Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement between the two countries. Commenting on the third anniversary of the deal, which came into effect on December 29, 2022, India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal said that 100% Australian tariff lines will be zero duty for Indian exports from 1st of January 2026. In a social media post, the minister highlighted that the agreement is benefiting Indian exporters, MSMEs, farmers and workers. He also said that India's exports to Australia increased 8% in 2024 to 2025. Over the past 3 years, India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement, or the ECTA, has delivered sustained export growth, deeper market access and stronger supply chain resilience. Under the agreement, trade balance will improve and stronger gains are expected across manufacturing, chemicals, textiles, pharma, petroleum, and gems and jewelry. In April to November 2025, agri exports surged, led by fruits and vegetables, marine products, spices, and coffee, while gems and jewelry exports jumped 16%. India-Australia ECTA continues to anchor India's economic engagement in the Indo-Pacific, aligned with Make in India and the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. Adamya Mishra's report for DD India.
India and Pakistan exchanged lists of nuclear installations on Thursday through diplomatic channels simultaneously in New Delhi and Islamabad. The exchange was carried out under the Agreement on the Prohibition of Attack against Nuclear Installations and Facilities between the two countries. The agreement, signed on 31st of December 1988 and effective from 27th of January 1991, stipulates that India and Pakistan must inform each other of the nuclear installations and facilities covered under the pact on the first day of every calendar year. Well, this marks the 34th consecutive annual exchange of such lists, with the first having taken place on the 1st of January in the year 1992. India and Pakistan also exchanged the list of civil prisoners and fishermen in each other's custody. India has shared lists with details of 391 civil prisoners and 33 fishermen in its custody who are Pakistani or believed to be Pakistani. Similarly, Pakistan has shared a list with details of 58 civil prisoners and 199 fishermen in its custody who are Indians or believed to be Indians. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world in brief. Boston residents welcomed the new year with a polar plunge into the icy waters of Boston Harbor. Dozens of swimmers, some in costumes, jumped into 40 degrees water, continuing a tradition more than 100 years old. The annual event draws crowds despite freezing temperatures. Despite temperatures dropping for a chilly New Year's Day, people across the Europe participated in New Year's Day tips to welcome 2026. The event, held on Thursday, marked the start of the new year with a plunge into ice-cold water despite spine-chilling cold. Thousands lined the streets of central London for the New Year's Day parade, welcoming 2026 with music and dance. More than 8,000 performers from around the world marched a mile route past the major landmarks. Organizers said crowds of around 5 lakhs were expected to attend the event. People in southern Senegal welcomed the new year at the Abini festival with traditional music, masks and dance. The week-long celebration in the Casamance region highlights local culture and attracts visitors from across the country. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Grand International Exposition of Sacred Piprava relics related to Lord Buddha on Saturday. In a major boost, Ahmedabad Flower Show sets 2 Guinness World Records, gains fame at global level. And after the break, we'll get you all the latest weather updates from across the country.
Embark on a timeless journey. Unravel the mysteries of a grandiose era. A treasure trove of royal and sacred complexes, temples, shrines, pillared halls, mandapas, rock-cut memorials and more. A spectacular setting of rugged landscape and exemplary workmanship, representing the best of Dravidian architecture. Every structure carved out as a unique artistic creation. A heritage landmark that reflects pure magnificence, integrated within its natural environment. An unexplored haven for nature and adventure enthusiasts. An imposing heritage reflected in its street bazaars and annual festivals of music and culture. Come, be mesmerized by the glorious capital of the Vijayanagar Empire.
Welcome back after that short break. Time now to quickly recap top headlines of the hour. Swiss president says New Year's Eve fire at ski resort among country's worst tragedies. At least 40 people killed, over 100 injured. Flags to fly at half-mast for 5 days. Hindu businessmen brutally attacked, set on fire in Bangladesh, raising minority violence concerns. Clashes between protesters and security forces in Iran leave 6 people dead amid cost of living protests. And Russia hands over evidence to the US, claiming Ukrainian drone targeted Putin's residence, escalating tensions in peace talks. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the Grand International Exposition of Sacred Piprava relics related to Lord Buddha in New Delhi on Saturday. The exposition brings together, for the first time, the Piprava relics repatriated after more than a century, with authentic relics and archaeological materials from Piprava that are preserved in the collections of the National Museum in New Delhi and the Indian Museum of Kolkata. The Piprava relics, discovered in the year 1898, hold a central place in the archaeological study of early Buddhism. These are among the earliest and most historically significant relic deposits directly connected to Lord Buddha. The exhibition underscores India's enduring civilizational links with Buddhist teachings and government's efforts to preserve spiritual and cultural heritage. The repatriation was achieved through sustained government action, institutional cooperation, and public-private partnership. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday lauded the remarkable achievement of S. Suresh Kumarji, who successfully cycled from Bengaluru to Kanyakumari. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in a social media post, noted that this feat is not only commendable and inspiring, but also a testament to Suresh Kumarji's grit and unyielding spirit, especially as it was accomplished after overcoming significant health setbacks. Prime Minister Narendra Modi emphasized that such endeavours carry an important message of fitness and determination for society at large. Prime Minister personally spoke to Suresh Kumar and congratulated him for his effort, appreciating the courage and perseverance that made this journey possible. Indian Railways is all set to introduce the Vande Bharat sleeper train for long journeys. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to flag it off later this month. Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw announced that the first ever Vande Bharat sleeper train will operate between Guwahati in Assam and Hafra in West Bengal. He stated that the complete trial, testing and certification of the Vande Bharat sleeper train have been successfully completed.
तो वंदे भारत एक्सप्रेस जो चेयर कार बनी उसने देश में एक नया कॉन्फिडेंस जागृत किया एंड पीपल स्टार्टेड लाइकिंग इट अ लॉट. देश भर से आज रिक्वेस्ट आता है कि वंदे भारत ट्रेन चलाइए, करीब करीब हर एमपी चाहते हैं. वैसा ही कंफर्ट अब ओवरनाइट जर्नी के लिए, वैसा ही कंफर्ट, वैसी ही सेफ्टी, वैसा ही स्टैंडर्ड एक नया ओवरनाइट जर्नी के लिए वो वंदे भारत स्लीपर से स्टार्ट होगा.
Addressing the conference, Ashwini Vaishnaw said Vande Bharat sleeper train is built on a completely new platform and technology.
हमने जिस तरह से वंदे भारत चेयर कार में लगातार इम्प्रूवमेंट्स किए, हर वर्जन में नए इम्प्रूवमेंट्स किए, अब उन इम्प्रूवमेंट्स के बाद में ये तय किया कि टोटली नया प्लेटफॉर्म एक बने, टोटली नया टेक्नोलॉजिकल बेस एक बने, टोटली एक नए तरीके से सोचें. तो अंदाज़ा था कि करीब 2026 के मिडल तक कंप्लीट हो जाएगा काम, लेकिन लकीली जितनी मेहनत की टीम ने 2026 की आरंभ में ही ये काम कंप्लीट हुआ है.
The government has imposed an additional excise duty on cigarettes and other tobacco products effective the 1st of February. The hike in excise duty on cigarettes will ensure that cigarettes carry a tax burden proportionate to their severe public health impact and also maintain a tax incidence closer to international best practices. The levy of such cess on pan masala and excise duty on tobacco was approved by the Parliament last month. The Finance Ministry has notified amendments to the Central Excise Act imposing an excise duty ranging from 2,050 rupees to 8,500 rupees per 1,000 sticks based on cigarettes' length, effective the 1st of February. This duty will be over and above the 40% GST. The ministry has also notified the Health and National Security Cess Act, levying cess on the manufacturing capacity of pan masala related businesses from the 1st of February. The total tax incidence on pan masala, after taking into account the 40% GST, will be retained at the current level of 88%. Chewing, jarda scented tobacco and gutka will attract an excise duty of 82% and 91% respectively. From the 1st of February, tobacco products including pan masala and cigarettes will attract 40%, while BDs, which are the rolled tobacco leaves, will be taxed at 18%. Finance Ministry has also notified that chewing tobacco, jarda, scented tobacco and gutka packing machines, the Capacity Determination and Collection of Duty Rules 2025, and manufacturers will have to install a functional CCTV system covering all packing machines and preserve the footage for at least 24 months. Such manufacturers will also have to disclose to the excise authorities the number of machines and their capacities. These norms would be effective from the 1st of February as well. Moving on, the charm of New Year celebrations in Shimla is truly unique. The hill station has turned into a festive hotspot, with its biggest attraction being the much-awaited snowfall. Tourists from across the country gather to welcome the New Year in Shimla amid chilly winds, hoping for a snowfall. Hotels, markets and popular tourist spots are buzzing with excitement as travellers soak in the festive atmosphere. Many say that celebrating New Year in Shimla is a memorable experience unlike any other. On the other hand, tourists welcomed the New Year in Kashmir as fresh snowfall blanketed the region's scenic landscape. Snow-covered destinations like Gulmarg and Sonmarg drew visitors, celebrating the start of 2026 amid the winter charm.
Several tourists welcomed the New Year amid Kashmir's serene, snow-covered landscapes as fresh snowfall added a magical touch to new beginnings. With a blanket of snow enveloping popular tourist hotspots like Gulmarg, visitors ushered in 2026, soaking in the beauty of the region.
यहाँ का नज़ारा देखकर बहुत अच्छा लगा और यहाँ के लोगों का जो प्यार मिला है बहुत ही लाजवाब है। जो लोग ये चीज़ें कहते हैं कि वहाँ जाने में डर लगता है, वो बेझिझक यहाँ आइए, गुलमर्ग कश्मीर घूमने आइए। यहाँ के लोगों का प्यार और यहाँ की वादियाँ देखने के लिए सुनहरा मौका मिलता है।
Similar experiences were shared by visitors at another popular tourist town, Sonmarg.
मैं कल यहीं स्टे किया था और यहाँ जब फेस्टिवल जो बनाया गया न्यू ईयर का, फर्स्ट टाइम इतना एंजॉय और फर्स्ट टाइम इतना सेफ मैं बता नहीं सकता। मैं कहता पूरे जितने भी अपने आसपास कंट्री है सब लोग यहाँ आए और एक बार आके देखे वाकई में यहाँ के लोग और यहाँ का कल्चर और यहाँ जितना प्रेम मिलता है हमें कहीं पर देखने को नहीं मिला।
Many locals whose livelihoods are dependent on tourism have urged more people to visit the region during the winter months when the place turns into a virtual wonderland.
टूरिज्म डिपार्टमेंट ने यहाँ फेस्टिवल मनाया था, हैप्पी न्यू ईयर का फेस्टिवल, और टूरिस्ट बहुत आए थे कि पूरा होटल सोल्ड आउट है। हम ऊपर वाले से यही दुआ करते हैं कि ऐसा ही माहौल यहाँ पे रह जाए कि ताकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा टूरिस्ट यहाँ आ जाए, सोनमर्ग में यहाँ की ब्यूटी और यहाँ की बर्फबारी का मज़ा लीजिए, ताकि यहाँ के जो पोनी वाले, यहाँ के स्लेज वाले, यहाँ के स्नो बाइक वाले या यहाँ के होटलियर वो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा काम कर पाए।
आज हमने यहाँ जो इवेंट बनाया इधर न्यू ईयर का, तो इसमें आप देखिए कितने लोग आए इसमें स्पेंड करने के लिए। बहुत अच्छी बात है, हम वेलकम करते हैं टूरिज्म को कि जब से पहलगाम में इंसिडेंट हुआ हम उसके खिलाफ ही है, क्योंकि ऐसे जिसने भी किया गलत किया, तो अब हम ये चाहते हैं कि अब टूरिज्म बढ़े, क्योंकि यह हमारा रोजी रोटी का मसला है। यहाँ घोड़ा, कोई बूट वाला है, कोई चाय वाला है, सब इसी पे डिपेंड है, सब यही काम करते हैं। इसके लिए हम टूरिज्म को वेलकम करते हैं, आइए इधर, हम आपके प्रोटेक्शन के लिए, हम आपकी सेवा के लिए हाजिर है।
To encourage tourism in Kashmir, which had reportedly seen a decline following the Pahalgam terror attack in April 2025, the local administration, along with tourism stakeholders, has been organizing various events across the valley to restore tourist confidence.
And now let's get you weather updates from across the country. Dense fog conditions are set to affect large parts of northern and eastern India, prompting weather alerts across key regions. The Indian Meteorological Department has placed much of the North Belt under an orange alert for very dense fog, including parts of the National Capital Region and the Western Plains, where visibility is expected to drop sharply during early morning hours. A yellow alert has been issued across the Himalayan region, northeastern parts of the country and southern India, including Tamil Nadu. The weather agency said foggy conditions are likely to persist, potentially affecting transport and daily movement, especially during the morning hours. In Jammu and Kashmir, cold wave conditions continued as temperatures dropped further. Heavy snowfall continued in the Pir Panjal ranges of Poonch in Jammu and Kashmir, further intensifying winter conditions in the region. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the country in brief. Over 3 crore registrations have been received so far for participation in the 9th edition of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's annual Pariksha Pe Charcha. An online competition with multiple choice questions is being organized on the MyGov portal from the 1st of December till the 11th of January for the selection of the participants. Students from classes 6 to 12th, teachers and parents are eligible to participate in the competition. In 2025, Pariksha Pe Charcha set a Guinness World Record, drawing participation of students from more than 245 countries, teachers from 153 countries and parents from 149 countries. For the first time, Indian Army's animal contingent will march on Kartavya Path in the national capital during Republic Day Parade 2026. It will showcase the vital role animals play in military operations across some of the country's most challenging terrains. The contingent will feature 2 Bactrian camels, 4 Zanskar ponies, 4 raptors, 10 Indian breed army dogs, along with 6 conventional military dogs currently in service. In West Bengal, a one-horned rhino calf born on the 1st of January 2026, which is the New Year's Day, was sighted by the patrolling team during routine monitoring in Jaldapada National Park. As per the protocol, every newborn rhino baby is recorded, counted and closely monitored as part of the park's conservative program. Now, this ensures the timely protection and continuous observation of both the calf and the mother rhino. The 14th Ahmedabad International Flower Show 2026 has achieved a significant milestone on the global stage this year. Held under the theme Bharat Ek Gatha, the flower show has set 2 new Guinness World Records. The first record is for the world's largest flower mandala, while the second is for the world's largest flower portrait of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. The flower show, opened on Thursday, will run till the 22nd of January. Time for a short break, but still to come on the other side. Bulgaria adopts euro, becomes latest member of single currency bloc amid mixed public reaction. RBI's Financial Stability Report highlights resilience of India's banking system amid global uncertainties. Australia batter Usman Khawaja has announced his retirement from international cricket.
You hold the deepest secrets that take us back in time. When it's said that the gods walk this land, this is where we feel the warmth of your faces. See hands that mold life. While embracing change, you grow. In you is the land that gives, creates, nurtures, grows, and builds. It's all in you. Come, experience Chhattisgarh.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching the India Newshour. Now let's get you all the latest from the world of business. European Union member Bulgaria marked its entry into the Eurozone on Thursday with a celebratory display of Euro coins on the facade of the central bank in Sofia. Fireworks lit up the capital as the country celebrated the long-awaited milestone. As of midnight, the euro became the country's currency and the leu was banished into the history. Bulgaria's entry into the Eurozone will take the number of Europeans using the currency to more than 350 million. Bulgarians have mixed feelings about the historic currency change. Some see it as a positive step away from country's socialist past, while others criticize the decision for lacking public consultation and are worried over higher prices and political instability. The last country to join the single currency group was Croatia, who did that in January 2023. And the European Central Bank in Frankfurt is lit up in Bulgaria's national colours. This marks Bulgaria's entry into the Eurozone as the 21st member country. Nearly 20 years after joining the European Union, Bulgaria now officially adopts the euro. The move strengthens the country's integration into Europe's financial system. Starlink will reconfigure its satellite constellation in 2026 by lowering all spacecraft currently operating at about 550 kilometers to roughly 480 kilometers, according to Michael Nukel's, SpaceX Vice President of Starlink Engineering. The move is aimed at improving safety in Earth's orbit. The announcement follows a December incident in which one Starlink satellite suffered an anomaly, produced a small amount of debris and lost contact at an altitude of around 418 kilometers, likely due to an onboard explosion. Nichols said lowering the orbit would concentrate Starlink satellites in a less crowded region below 500 kilometers, reducing collision risk as well. Now, the number of satellites in orbit has surged as governments and companies expand space-based services. Reserve Bank of India has released its Financial Stability Report for 2025 December, flagging confidence in the strength and resilience of India's financial system despite global uncertainties. The report comes as the government continues to push wide-ranging reforms to sustain economic momentum. Here's more.
The Indian economy continues to grow at a strong pace, supported by robust domestic demand, moderate inflation and prudent macroeconomic policies despite global headwinds. These are major highlights of Reserve Bank of India's latest Financial Stability Report. The report says, despite an uncertain and challenging global economic backdrop, the Indian economy continues to grow strongly, underpinned by robust domestic demand, benign inflation, and prudent macroeconomic policies. The domestic financial system remains robust and resilient, bolstered by strong balance sheets, easy financial conditions, and low financial market volatility. The health of the scheduled commercial banks remains sound with strong capital and liquidity buffers, improved asset quality, and robust profitability. The insurance sector continues to display balance sheet resilience, and the consolidated solvency ratio remained above the minimum threshold limit. The RBI report follows PM Modi's social media post highlighting landmark reforms driving India's growth journey. Prime Minister underscored the transformative reforms undertaken in 2025 that have set India firmly on the path of accelerated growth and development. PM said that a series of path-breaking reforms across multiple sectors have added momentum to India's growth story and strengthened efforts to build a developed nation. PM underscored the reforms spanning labor laws, trade agreements, logistics, energy and markets, noting that India's growth is anchored in credibility, stability and long-term confidence. During the 50th meeting of Pragati, Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave the mantra, reform to simplify, perform to deliver, transform to impact. PM said that Pragati is essential to sustain reform momentum and ensure delivery. With a stable financial system and sustained reform momentum, India appears well positioned to navigate global challenges and maintain its growth trajectory. As reforms continue and financial stability remains intact, India's growth story is gaining renewed confidence on both policy and performance fronts. Bureau Report, DD India.
Market updates now. Indian benchmark indices Sensex and Nifty began Friday's trading session on an optimistic note as steady buying by domestic institutional investors and a rally in blue chip Reliance Industries drove the stock markets higher in early trade. The 30-share BSE Sensex climbed 158.19 points in early trade, while Nifty went up by 55.8 points. In Asian markets, South Korea's Kospi Index, Shanghai's SSC Composite Index and Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index were trading higher. US markets were closed on Thursday for New Year's holiday. Moving on. Australia's long-time opening batter Usman Khawaja on Friday called time on his international career by announcing his retirement. Usman Khawaja said he's still battling racial stereotypes. The left-handed batter confirmed that the upcoming fifth and final Ashes test against England would be his final game in international cricket. The southpaw informed his teammates of his decision on Friday morning. The 39-year-old made his test debut at the same ground in the final match of the 2010-11 Ashes series and has since scored 6,206 runs at an average of 43.39 in 87 matches, including 16 centuries. The batter's future in Test cricket has been one of the hottest topics of this summer's Ashes series as he turned 39 last month. With Australia 3-1 up in the series, headed into the final test, Usman Khawaja confirmed he would be calling time after the final SCG test. Australia announced a 15-member squad for the fifth and final Ashes test against England starting the 4th of January in Sydney. In the absence of regular captain Pat Cummins, veteran batter Steve Smith will continue to lead the Australian side. Pat Cummins missed the first two Ashes tests against England after failing to recover on time due to a lower back injury. Meanwhile, amid test retirement speculations, Usman Khawaja has retained his place in the squad for the fifth Ashes test. Australia will be looking forward to end the series on a higher note after suffering a rare home defeat to England for the first time in almost 15 years. They lead the 5-match series by 3-1 and have already retained the Ashes title. Wrestlers Ritika Hooda had been dropped from the Sports Ministry's Target Olympic podium scheme after failing a dope test, as the updated list of supported athletes has been released. Ritika Hooda, an Asian Championship medalist who competed in Paris, had been part of the top score group announced in February last year. At the same time, compound archers Parneet Kaur and Abhishek Verma were promoted to the core group, while decathlete Tejaswin Shankar was included in the development list based on recent performances. The revised tops directory reflects athletes' performance over the past year, following the end of Paris Olympic cycle. The latest update has slightly increased the number of core group athletes to 118, including 57 able-bodied and 61 para-athletes. In soccer, at the ongoing English Premier League, Manchester City were held to a goalless draw by Sunderland at the Stadium of Light on Friday. City missed the chance to close the gap on league leaders Arsenal. They now trail Arsenal by 4 points. City began on the front foot and had an early goal ruled out. Bernardo Silva finished from close range, but he was caught offside. Erling Haaland later had the best chance of the first half. His effort from inside the box was saved by Sunderland goalkeeper. In the second half, Manchester City increased the pressure with Jeremy Doku denied and Josko Wardale hitting the post, and the match ended goalless. With this, Sunderland earned a deserved point and kept their unbeaten home record with themselves. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour.